Welcome to Healthy Food, Happy You. I'll be your host, Jonna Rowe. I'm the creator and primary writer of JonnaKnowsGoodFood.com. On March 9th, 2011, our producer, Jorge A. Mira, jumped on the opportunity to take a camera crew to Capitol Hill and get involved in the first U.S. screening of the feature film Pig Business and the accompanying panel discussion. This event was sponsored by the Center for Food Safety. This film investigates the rise of factory pig farming, a system which pollutes the environment, abuses animals, threatens human health through dangerous overuse of antibiotics, and wrecks rural communities. The film shows how this USA-developed system by Smithfield Foods has now been employed in Eastern Europe as well. As the event was setting up, Jorge pulled aside Dr. Michael Greger to have him explain what the event was hoping to accomplish. Dr. Greger is a physician, author, and internationally recognized professional speaker on important health issues. Dr. Greger is the Director of Public Health and Animal Agriculture at the Humane Society of the United States.
So this is the first U.S. screening of a documentary called Pig Business about the industrialization of the pork supply and its implications for both human health, public health, the environment, and animals, not only here, but around the world. This is to restrict the feeding of antibiotics to farm animals. Most antibiotics produced in the United States don't go to treat sick people. They are fed in mass by the truckload to farm animals just to promote growth and prevent disease in such a stressful, unhygienic, overcrowded environment. So this practice needs to stop. It fosters the growth of antibiotic resistance. Many of the antibiotics just don't work anymore, and some of the infections are more difficult to treat.
Then Congressman Dennis Kucinich, Democrat from Ohio, gave opening remarks about why concentrated animal feeding operations, otherwise known as CAFOs, is a major issue because of its impact on the environment and the economy. For instance, these CAFOs cause dead zones on watershed areas around. Many of you know it has been reported similar damage here in the Chesapeake Bay area, as well as the crab industry suffers a major decline.
I'm proud to have this opportunity to be part of this process that informs America about the indelible impact that concentrated agriculture feeding operations, or CAFOs, have on our health, the health of animals, the health of our environment, and the functioning of the economy. The simple fact that CAFOs are regulated by the EPA and their very operations are governed by the Clean Water Act tells you that the existence of approximately 450,000 concentrated animal feeding operations in the United States has a tremendous impact on our environment. The Union of Concerned Scientists stated that runoff and leaching from animal sources, including CAFOs, is believed to contribute to about 15% of the nutrient pollution that reaches the Gulf of Mexico, creating a large dead zone devoid of fish and commercially important seafood. We're here because of our awareness of the damage to our planet that is being done by the uncaring interests who come together to produce these CAFOs. And this film by Tracy Worster and the participation of Robert Kennedy, Waterkeepers, and all the other environmental activists and farm activist groups that are here, I think is going to help to create a broadened environmental consciousness that will be necessary to bring about the reforms that are so critically needed to repair our relationship with nature, with animals, and with the planet itself. So thank you very much for being here.
Debbie Barker from the Center for Food Safety reiterated that the film discusses the damaging environmental, social, and health effects of industrial pig operations. She introduced Robert Kennedy Jr., a resolute defender to the environment. He explained his legal battles for the watersheds in America and why he took the issue to Poland as well.
And now we'll have some introductory remarks as well by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Kennedy was also named by Time magazine as one of the heroes for the planet for his success helping Riverkeeper lead the fight to restore the Hudson River. Please join me in welcoming Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Thank you very much. I'm really grateful for the enormous turnout tonight, and I'm most grateful for Tracy and her efforts to get this film here. As she said, she was bedeviled by legal actions, by threat, and by a fear campaign that was mounted by Smithfield Foods, a campaign of intimidation. Smithfield also brought a lawsuit against me in the state of, in Poland, because I went over there and I made a speech before the Polish Parliament and debated the head of Smithfield Foods. And I said the same thing in Poland that I said in hundreds of speeches around the country. They never sued me here because everything I said about them was true. But in Poland, they sued me for libel, which is a criminal offense that carries a 2-year jail sentence. And as I have subsequently learned in Poland, truth is not a defense to libel. So essentially it's just it's a law, criminal law that forbids you from saying insulting things about corporations, even when they're true. One of the things that got me really hooked on this issue was that it's a template for all of the other major environmental issues that we have in this country, whether it's mountaintop removal or Roundup Ready corn, or mercury poisoning from coal plants, or all of these different. Wherever you see large-scale environmental injury, and you'll see the corruption of government officials, because what this industry is a criminal enterprise. They cannot produce a pound of bacon or a pork chop cheaper or more efficiently than a traditional family farmer unless they break the law, unless you got a contract with Smithfield. You're out of business. When we started doing this work, there were 27,500 individual family farmers, hog farmers in the state of North Carolina. Today, there's 2,200 factory farms. They've been altogether replaced. 80% of those are owned or controlled by one corporation, Smithfield Foods. You know, you say you're exaggerating, but ask Oprah Winfrey, because she did it, and she had to go to jail. She had to go to court for 6 weeks in the state of Texas. You know, they break the law, they spread the manure on the ground, and then it goes into the waterways, and it kills the fish, it sickens the people, and there's a grim inventory of diseases that anybody who lives downwind of a hog, of one of these hog factories can tell you about. You know, that's what Tracy has been fighting for. That's what all these river keepers and water keepers have been fighting for. You've got to fight this corporate power that is destroying all the things we value and that we're legitimately proud about this nation. So thank you, Tracy, and thank you all.
Tracy Royster, the film's director, explained that she produced this film to spotlight Smithfield Foods, which is the largest pork producer in the world. She began questioning their processes and making public her findings. She first brought the film to the British and European Parliament. She also has had the film translated in 12 languages to bring the issue around the world. She asked us all to return to buying foods from our local farmers and grocers, and that the government should stop subsidizing huge industrial producers so that we could see the true cost of food.
Thank you for coming tonight. Right, in the past 10 years in Britain, we've lost over half of our pig farmers. They, like farmers in America and around the world, have been put out of business because large-scale, intensive farming operations avoid the true cost of producing so-called cheap pork. If intensive farming operators were made to pay the true cost by the introduction and implementation of laws that accurately and adequately protected human health, livestock, and the environment, and if these corporations weren't given subsidies, tax breaks, and preferential loans, traditional farmers who bear the true cost of their production would outcompete them in the marketplace. Since the end of my film, Polish governments have introduced laws to limit the damage wrought on the environment, and Smithfield's response was to move its next wave of operations to Romania. Heavily subsidized cheap pork from factory farms is not only flooding the unfortunate host countries like Poland and Romania, but is also flooding the EU market as well. One of the farmers said, "I'm subsidizing the cost of production of each pig by $30 from my own pocket." As EU pig feed is imported from South America, they're dependent on a volatile global economy. And recently, feed has skyrocketed. Now, my film exposes the truly dark nature of farming, factory farming of pigs, but trying to solve each of the disparate areas of breakdown as single issues, whether it be food safety, human health, animal welfare, or pollution is simply shifting chairs on the Titanic. More and more NGOs, writers, farmers, and activists are looking at the root cause of these problems, namely the power and the influence of the meat industry. We urgently need to protect our farmers from these cheap imports by shifting subsidies from intensive mechanized production to smaller, grass-fed family farms that raise a diversity of crops and animals, farms that grow their own animal feed and provide food for their local communities. It's time to begin to value our farmers as our heroes. Each of us can make it work in our budgets by taking the healthier option of eating less meat and more root, protein, grain, and vegetables. Eat less meat, eat better meat. Keeping your money in the local economy and avoiding the cleanup costs of factory farming is, in the long term, the cheaper, fairer, and kinder option. It's time we, who like to consider ourselves as civilized people, put compassion over competition as an economic driver.
The audience of 300 then watched the film.